Good evening. Good evening. Thank you very much. I'm George Takei, and a few days ago, this past week, on December 7th, we observed Pearl Harbor Day, a very significant day, the day 75 years ago when Japan bombed Pearl Harbor and plunged the world into a Second World War. That bombing revealed the military vulnerability of America, but it also revealed another vulnerability. Our democracy is a people's democracy, and the people are easily stampeded. The horror of the bombing of Pearl Harbor swept through this country, and there was a wave of war hysteria and racism directed at Americans of Japanese ancestry. Overnight, we who look like the people of people who bombed Pearl Harbor were looked at with suspicion and fear and outright hostility, simply because we look like the people that bombed Pearl Harbor. That hysteria swept across this country, and it revealed how vital leadership from the community, and particularly from the elected officials, are to a people's democracy. And at that time, the political leadership failed. Here in California, we had an attorney general. He knew the law. He knew the Constitution. He was the top lawyer of the state of California. But he was ambitious. He wanted to run for governor. And he saw that the single most popular issue in California in the early 40s was the Lock Up the Japanese movement. And so this attorney, who knew the law, who knew the Constitution, got in front of the Lock Up the Japanese movement. And he made an amazing statement. He said, "We have no reports of sabotage or spying or fifth column activities by Japanese Americans. And that is ominous, because the Japanese are inscrutable. You don't know what they're thinking. And so it would be prudent to lock them up before they do anything." So for this attorney, the absence of evidence was the evidence. And that fed into the hysteria of that period. And that hysteria went all the way up to the top leadership of the nation, the presidency of the United States, when President Roosevelt ordered all Japanese Americans on the West Coast, approximately 120,000 of us, to be summarily rounded up and put in barbed wire prison camps. That attorney ran for governor and won a resounding victory. He was reelected twice, and then he went on to be named the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States. His name is Earl Warren, who goes down in history as the great liberal Supreme Court Chief Justice. I'd like to think he was that because he was stricken by guilt, his conscience, for what he did right before the war. But this is how vulnerable a people's democracy is. Our democracy can do great things, as we well know. The founding of this country on the shining ideals. But the people are fallible human beings. And so it is important that we be mindful of that. We are in a changed world today, and that change is personified by our new Attorney General, Javier Becerra, from whom you just heard. He has been a strong and audible voice for what is right, what is just. And he will be an equally strong Attorney General for this state. You heard from Ted Lieu, Congressman, as a matter of fact, my congressman in the United States Congress. I knew him before he was a congressman. He was an assemblyman, but I knew him from before the time he was served in the California Assembly. He was an active leader in the Japanese or the Asian American community. And the fact that you have people like that standing for the Muslim Public Affairs Council is very strengthening. And I'm proud to stand with them in support of MPAC, because MPAC has been serving the community for 30 years now, making a strong stand for diversity of the people, of many different ethnicities, of many different faiths, of many different cultures, and that infinite diversity in infinite combination, working together in concert, because that is the strength of our system. Good people working together, organized and speaking loudly and clearly, engage with the democratic process. That is what's going to make this circumstance today different. We are all standing strong with the Muslim Public Affairs Council. When I heard that first trial balloon a few weeks ago from Carl Higbee, a surrogate for the Trump administration, or Trump transition team, I knew exactly what was going to be coming down. He talked about a Muslim registry, which was a chilling echo for me, because back in the 40s, they had a Japanese-American database. They're using the word registry, but it's the same thing as what came down on us, a database, where they knew where we were, how many lived in that household, and what we did. And after they had a database, they came down with a curfew. All Japanese Americans had to be home by 7 p.m. and stay at home until 6 a.m. We were imprisoned at night in our homes. And then we discovered that our bank accounts were frozen. Our life savings became inaccessible. And that was followed by the soldiers coming to take us away. That must never happen again today. And so I am proud to be here with you tonight and see the kind of strength that the Muslim Public Affairs Council has, the contributions that have been made, and my husband and I have made our contribution to supporting the Impact program. We are here as Americans who believed in the cherished ideals of our people's democracy. And we, the people, will sing out in concert that we are Americans proud of our American ideals, and we will never forsake them. Thank you very much for what you are doing.
Please be seated. Please be seated. Thank you. Thank you. Honorable guests, thank you. Thank you for your courtesy. Thank you for inviting. Thank you for making me part of this dignified event. I will have two parts of my comments before you. One is to update you where we stand today, where I stand today, where we Muslims stand today, because I've been traveling state to state, altogether about 25 states that I have traveled, and I have met with Muslim community, and I have met with the children of Muslim community, elders of Muslim community. I have sat with them and asked them questions, what worries them, what bothers them. And the second part is, in my humble opinion, what we could be doing, what we should be doing, or what we are doing that will make the difference. First, when we started this journey, it was not for ourselves. It was for the sake of small children that were worried about that ugly political rhetoric and the speech in which we were threatened, Hispanic Americans were threatened, women were threatened, judges were threatened. And whenever I would go to a home of Muslim small children or our friends in Hispanic community, the small children will come to me and ask, you're an attorney, please tell us, are we going to be thrown out of this country? Parents would say children don't want to go to school with this fear in their mind that when they say that if we went to school, when we come back, we may not find you because our friends in school taunt us, tease us. It was that was in our mind when the invitation came, so we got up and we stood there and we waved that Constitution. What we were trying to do is to highlight the values of the Constitution of the United States, the values of freedom of speech, freedom of practice of religion, equal dignity, equal protection of law, and due process of law. And those values are challenged today. We continue to speak. I have not stopped. I was thinking after the election, my engagements will slow down, but believe me, by the Muslim communities, by other organizations, good organizations like ACLU, my engagements have increased many-fold to come and speak, come and appraise the community about what is taking place, and share the safeguards that these good organizations, which is hosting this event. And I'll tell you the value and the importance of the work that this organization does and is doing and will be doing. So my engagements have increased many-fold, but in each and every community I go, same question is asked, and that question is, are we going to be okay? Are our children going to be okay? What about our civil liberties? What about our civil rights? Please continue to speak. Please tell other organizations continue to speak. So we do. We continue to speak because that is one way of challenging. It's one way those challenge these civil liberties. Look at the example of the movement of civil rights in this country. The rights that we enjoy, we take those rights for granted. Our civil rights leader had to struggle for many years, have to offer so many sacrifices so that we will have the dignity and we will have our civil rights. Time has come that we all stand up. We all realize that the values that we cherish so much, values of equal dignity, equal protection of law, freedom of religion, freedom of speech that we have cherished, that we stand, we defend those values, we stand, we remain, we speak, we announce very loudly. And always remember that in history there had been many a times when these values in this country have been challenged. But the good people of that time stood and defended these values, and today we cherish. This time shall pass, but our role is defined by history, that we are chosen to defend these values, and we should remain standing, we should remain firm. The entire country, I travel city to city, community to community. As I face them, I face one more thing that is so heartening, that is so important for us to note. Among us sit the leaders of faith, leaders of other faiths and Muslim faith. It is the interfaith interaction that will strengthen us. I have been to communities where when I see the interaction of interfaith leaders with the community, the incidences, the events of harassment, events of threatening our faith and our identity had been very less. So interfaith leaders are source of strength for us. We should remember, we should increase our interfaith activity. We should increase and we should highlight our organizations, and within those organizations, we should include the members of other faiths to come and join hand with us. Your community is a shining example of all the good things that are taking place, but that is only here or a couple of other places in Chicago and Washington, D.C. But go further. That is why when I come to the point in my conversation with you that what we should be doing, first, I want you, all of us that are present here or within the reach of my voice, I want you to promise yourself, I want you to empty your wallets tonight. I want you to donate. That is one thing that you can do momentarily. I want organizations like this where I am standing, where you are sitting, to have office in each and every state of United States. That is how we are going to make the difference. Inshallah, next year, this organization will have 50 offices, not 3 offices, and that will only happen if all of us do our part and we donate and we contribute generously. That is our obligation to make this, to fight the fight that lies ahead, all of us. That is one thing. Second thing, always remember, whenever I ask our Muslim community, how many counties are in United States? Different answers. There are approximately 3,100 counties in United States. Each county has a county clerk. I am sharing with you a technique that should be used so effectively, that would be so effective in having our voice heard in each and every county wherever Muslims live. And that is that each county has citizens boards of various activities. Citizens board that selects and monitors police activities, citizens board that grants permits, citizens board that does the city planning, citizens board that watches schools, citizens board that approves funding for the police department and police activities. I want Muslims to pick up telephone. If you really want to have voice in this system, in this country, pick up the phone and ask the county clerk's office, could you mail, I am a citizen of this, resident of this county, can you send me the vacancies that are open so I could apply for them? It is only that telephone call that they will be so glad to hear from a Muslim. They will be so glad to include you in whatever commissions, whatever boards you wish to join. That is the grassroots activity that you can start at your own when you feel so overwhelmed that I am afraid that my faith, my identity, faith of other immigrants is being challenged. What can I do at my level beside contributing to organizations like this? Second thing is volunteer. Become member of the boards that I mentioned, member of the commissions that each county has. Become members, be the voice, and it takes only, I've been told by the mayors, by their offices, that Muslims shy away from that activity. They should be participating in such an activity. More important is that we need to have these conversations not only once a year or twice a year, more often. Next few years, we should have these gatherings more often, fundraising more often, getting together, speaking, having our agenda more often, not once a year. It could be at smaller scale, but this conversation must continue. You do not know, I do not know where this conversation that we are having tonight is going to go, how far this conversation is going to go. Make sure that we continue to speak. It is our civic obligation. We are not only Muslim American. I always, whenever anybody asks me and whenever there is an opportunity, I always say, I am patriotic American Muslim. Never underestimate the power of your statement. When you say, I am patriotic American Muslim, it is heard loud and clear. Make sure that when we are honored with the citizenship of this country, with that honor comes the responsibility of making sure that we keep this country safe, make sure that we are protector of the values of this country, make sure that we are protector of the goodness of this country, the fundamental values of this country. I always implore Muslims, and especially our youth, to go read, find out the Constitution of Medina, the Covenant of Medina. It has a different name, but in today's political science language, it will be called the Dastur al-Medina. The Prophet wrote that document. It is embodiment of pluralism. All faiths, all ethnicities, all languages are represented in that document with equal dignity. Each one has place of worship. So if somebody wishes to ask about your faith, make sure beside Quran and Hadith, you make mention of Covenant of Medina, Constitution of Medina, that dignifies the value of pluralism that is so inherent in our faith. We shy away from that discussion. Finally, I want to share this, and I want to promise something what lies ahead. In every event that I have gone, I have asked the inclusion of our youth, because that is where the solution lies for us Muslims and for immigrants, that we prepare, that we prepare our youth, that we prepare them for the leadership of the future, that we hand over the baton to them, but with preparation, that each and every organization like this, where we sit tonight, is a tremendous resource. We should ask its leadership. They do have leadership preparation program that sends our youth to Congress, and they are involved with the congressional programs. But I ask something totally different. I ask this because this need is throughout the country among Muslims and other immigrants, and that is to prepare our youth, to prepare our future generation in their home base, in their counties where they are stationed. Prepare them how to be the candidates, not just the votes. Prepare them, train them how to do the fundraising, how to write the platform, how to have the volunteers, how to gather them, how to have the support of the community. These are 4 or 5 things that we must do, and we do it immediately. And we should start it not tomorrow, but today, so that we are ready. 2017 elections are right here. I already been approached by several candidates in Virginia where I live. Would you campaign with us? Would you support us? What issues you want us to be talking about when we come to Muslim community? You are tremendously resourceful community. The political organizations, both parties, Republicans and Democrats, they recognize if you have faith in your resources and you use them when the time comes, and this is the time to use those resources, your voice will be heard. These bridges that we want to build, which is the topic of the symposium today, these bridges will be built when there is reconciliation from both sides. We are ready to build the bridges. We need the other side to stand up and step forward to build the bridges. Those bridges will be built when we fully realize our potential and we have resources allocated to building bridges, training our youth, preparing them to take the charge, take the baton, and move us forward. I have seen the potential of our community. I have seen the potential personally, person to person, community to community. We are such a resourceful community. Some of the leaders that came and that spoke to you, they admit the resourcefulness of this community. We should have faith in that. That is where lies when some challenges worry us. What is going to be our future? That is our future. We are very much part of America. We are very much part of the protectors of America. There are over 5,000 Muslims serve in the armed forces of United States today. In New York, there are more than 900 NYPD police officers that serve so bravely today. We are healers. We are healthcare providers of this country. We are professionals of all sorts of this country. Above all, we are the most patriotic citizens of this country. Therefore, we should fully appreciate and realize our potential, have faith in it. This country appreciates us. We will continue to be patriotic citizens of this country. So the work lies ahead. I urge you again at the conclusion that please, this is the night to be generous. This is the night to show this organization that we appreciate its work and we will continue to support so this good work continues. And hopefully when we meet next year, they will be able to announce that now we have 30 offices, not 3 or not 4. Thank you very much. God bless you. Thank you.
Well, first of all, did you eat? Was it good? Well, give a round of applause to the workers who've been out here all day, working all day, the workers. We appreciate you. I've been on the road since the election. This is my one-day home to see my family. I leave tomorrow for 10 more days, and then we'll have our holiday. You ask me, well, what am I doing here? Why am I not at home? My children insisted that I come here tonight. They insisted. I want to say to you that I have some understanding of what you're going through. Sometimes God picks a people and puts a burden on a community, not to destroy them, but to develop them so that they can do something magnificent in His eyes. Sometimes that's what happens. I'm a 9th generation American. And I tell people this all the time. I'm a 9th generation American, but I'm the first one in my family born with all my rights recognized by this government. I was born in 1968. I have a cousin, Kenya, who was born in 64 before they signed the last Civil Rights Acts. So I'm the first one in 9 generations born with all my rights. And it would be easy for me and easy for other African Americans to be bitter about our journey here. But I think most of us see it differently. It was through our struggle that America became America. You see, the founding of our country was 2 things and not one. And your role here is to complete something in America that's been a long time coming. The American Muslims have been called to save a great faith and a great nation at the same time. That's what you've been called to do. And this special burden and responsibility and opportunity is something that commands from the rest of us extreme honor and pride and solidarity, because America cannot be America until your community has a place of dignity and honor and respect by every single American. We can't be what we're supposed to be until your place is honored. Now let me say something about the country. At our founding, we were 2 things. The founding reality for America was ugly and unequal, according to Jefferson himself. This is not Van Jones, a CNN lefty dude, saying something bad. Don't freak out. If you were to go to Washington, D.C. right now and go to the Jefferson Memorial, and if you were to climb the steps, you would see in marble and stone Jefferson's own reflections on the founding of the country. And what Jefferson said about the country, Jefferson, who owned a Quran, by the way, but what Jefferson said about the country was this. He said, "I tremble for my country when I reflect that God is just." I tremble for my country when I reflect that God is just. That's not triumphalism. That's not, we did it. That's not, we've achieved perfection. That's Jefferson reflecting on the enslavement And in my own imagination, I think maybe he was reflecting on the fact that even at that moment, women could not vote. Native American lands were being stolen. If you didn't own property, you couldn't vote. He said, I tremble for my country. When he thought about the shortcomings, when he thought about the founding reality, he said, I tremble. What will God do to a nation like this? And if that's all that America was, this ugly founding moment with the enslavement of human beings honored in the document, women left out of the document, Native Americans considered savages and left out of the document, if that's all America was, that founding reality, it wouldn't command the love and respect of nations. But the truth is that America was always two things. Yes, there's that founding reality, but there was also the founding dream. Also the founding dream. And that very same Thomas Jefferson, if you just turn your head, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all are created equal. And that's what we are. This founding reality that was ugly, and this founding dream that's about equality, the most beautiful dream in the world. Who are we? What is an American? What makes us Americans? We have every color, every faith, every gender expression, every sexuality, every kind of human being ever born is right here in one country. What makes us Americans? We are that rainbow people, that many-colored people, that many-tongued people, that rainbow people unique in the world, that every generation tries to close the gap between that founding reality and the beauty of the founding dream. And every generation, we take one more step. We don't get there. We don't get to perfection, but we get closer to a more perfect union. And now it's your turn. This is the moment. This is the moment. This is the moment. God would not ever choose a people unworthy of this burden. African Americans, women, all of the groups that have come and taken us one step closer have been afraid, have had to comfort children, have had to walk down the street feeling vulnerable, have had to sacrifice money, and hopefully a little bit more money than y'all done so far. I think y'all supposed to. And we call those people in all the communities who step forward not victims, but victors. Victors. And not just for their own community. People sing, "We shall overcome," on 6 continents now. Because those African Americans in the South, facing ugliness, responded with a beauty undeniable in the ages. People talk about Dr. King and Fannie Lou Hamer and Ella Jo Baker and the student freedom riders all around the world. and they had fewer resources than you. They had less education than you. They had less standing and respect than you. But when they decided to stand up, they lifted the nation and the world and humanity to a new place. So don't go out of here feeling other than blessed by God. You are our best community. You are. It's undeniable. Nobody can hold a candle to what you've achieved. That's how great this responsibility is. God chose our strongest community. God chose our most beautiful community. God chose the community that all the other communities aspire to be like. You, with your faith, with your family, with your education, with your entrepreneurial zeal, with your respect for each other. You have been chosen because you have the strength to do it, because you have the dignity to do it. They had a whole convention, the Democrats. Nobody can remember a single word that anybody said except Michelle Obama and the brother who was just up here. Nobody can remember a word. Nobody can remember a word. That's your community. That's the strength you bring to our country. I've said it and I'll say it again. If a Muslim family moves next door to you, you better sing hallelujah, because the chances of your children getting in trouble just went way down. Because y'all know I'm right. Y'all ain't got to be modest tonight. Our best community. Our best community. This is the man. This man wants to fight this community. This man wants to take on this community. Oh, he's messing with the wrong folk. Messing with the wrong folk. So, I'll leave you with this. Don't overestimate what this man has achieved. You'll make wrong decisions. Your calculations will be off. Okay? $310 million Americans, the majority voted against him. Who voted? The election was won because 79,000 people in 3 states jumped the fence. And when you ask those people why they jumped the fence, they don't mention you. They don't. They mention the factory jobs that were lost. They mention the fact that the Democrats sometimes seem to be elitist and out of touch. They mention a sense of unease and some cultural anxieties, but they don't mention you. They don't. He doesn't have a mandate to do anything to you. Even the majority of the people who voted for him didn't vote for all of his nonsense. And the majority of the people voted against him. He created a little tiny hate-based movement, which is not to say that everybody who voted for him is a part of it, but there's a little hate-based movement, a little hate army that has taken over our government. All we have to do is stand up, be proud, be dignified, and build a massive love army to take it back. And that's what we're going to do. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.